Okay, so let's launch straight into how the demo is set up. We've got obviously an UltraNova here and 3 launch pads. These are all connected to the Mac using this hub here. So all of the products here are connected and powered via USB. This is great because then you only just need one power connection to your laptop and then off you go. Just looking at the UltraNova as well, initially it might seem confusing that the master outputs aren't connected, but that's because all of the audio is running out of the USB cable. So sending live audio as it's being played in to Ableton Live, which is being used to loop the audio or just to play live. That's then being recorded live to a file which we'll then put against the video. So now let's talk about each of the launch pads and what they're doing. The launchpad number 1 is in session mode, so this is being used to build up loops on the fly. There's one pre-recorded little loop, which sounds like this, and that's the only pre-recorded loop in the whole set, and that just runs throughout the whole tune. So that's fairly straightforward. This last row here is a little bit special. This is actually a whole bunch of program change messages, which gets sent through Ableton back into the UltraNova and allows me to change patches really quickly. So this is patch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's kind of useful. We'll come on to that in just a second. This middle launchpad is in user 1 mode, and this is mostly used to play drums. And on this side, actually, it's quite a long sample, that one. Let's let that play out. On this side, we've actually got a stutter edit made by Isotope, and we'll come back to that in just a second. But pressing any one of these will have some fun effects across the whole mix. Now moving on to this launchpad over here, this is in user 2 mode, and this is basically completely custom set up. But again, try and follow the philosophy of having tracks 1 to 8 going down here, but these top row of buttons are really just effect sends for sound. So this is a big reverb, delay 1, delay 2, and this is an overall ambient reverb that's sent across all tracks, and they sound a bit like this. So here's the drums without reverb, with a reverb, and now with some delays, and now without any effects. Okay, so that's tracks 1 to 7 there. So another thing we should point out is these buttons down here are also doing things. So let's go ahead and build up a loop by turning the click on. Now usually you can hear the click just in the headphones, so that doesn't get sent out, but for now we'll hear the click so that we can play along with it. So on this first channel here, we are going to put in a loop of 4 bars, 3, 4. Now we can play into it. So that's now just looping, and we can turn the click off now. So these buttons over here can be used to mute certain parts of the kit, like just the kick drum, the snare, the hi-hats, and now all we're left with is just those background sounds. Then we'll add the kick back in, snare. Okay. Now I mentioned that these do fun things in this program called BT Stutter Edit, which I'll just load up here so you can see it. So this does things like this. So that allows us to do fun effects on just the drums. These buttons up here are also assigned to Ableton beat repeaters, and they are in here somewhere on the drum channel here. So if we trigger these, they kind of remix our drums on the fly, which means you don't have to hand play in lots of fills or breaks. Right, so that's our drum section. I'm just going to mute the drums. Now, the next thing we want to do is bring in the synths. So we've got the UltraNova here, and we're going to find some sounds. And I know that this button here will load up my main synth. So let's play the synth in. Now, one of the main things about this sound is the mod wheel, which is changing the speed of the LFO, but also the harder you press down on the note using Aftertouch, you'll get this big pitch shift at the start. So here it is. Now, if I don't use Aftertouch, it sounds like this. With Aftertouch. Right, so let's put that whole loop in. So now we've got the synth loop going, we can add in the drums when we want. Okay, let's put the next synth sound in. And set that looping. And pretty much that's how the track was built up, by putting in MIDI clips over here using drums, and then actually taking audio loops from the synth and recording them to clips in Ableton and stacking them up. And pretty much that's the whole video. One thing we should just be clear about is these program change messages can be done in Ableton just in clips. There's no max for live that's used here. It's when you go into clips, there's an option which I should show you here, which allows you to set up program change messages. So I go to this clip, there's an option here which allows you to set up a sub bank and a program change message. Sub bank 5 here is bank D on the UltraNova, and program change 31 loads up the relevant program on the UltraNova. The UltraNova itself, there's 5 sounds that are used on the UltraNova, and there will be a sound pack available to download so you can actually try those sounds out for yourself. Thanks very much.